All right, we are live. What is going on, everybody? White Tiger 93 here. Y'all guys can call me the Tiger, and today we are back playing some more Wisdom 101. Today, guys, it is a huge honor to be able to host the next Wisdom 101 Kingsisle Roundtable. We've seen previous roundtables before in the past, hosted by some fantastic community members. We've seen the PvP roundtable with Blake PvP. We've seen the roundtable with Beast Moon with Gladrocker that just recently happened. So it is a huge honor to be able to host the next official roundtable. So really excited. This roundtable will be focused around the Socialization Initiative and community interaction. Overall, it's going to be a very general stream, I think, but it will be a just overall fun stream just for everybody. Like I said, there's going to be kind of general streams, just a very general flowing stream that I think a lot of people are going to be really enjoying. We do have some questions that we're going to be asking. They're going to be talking a little bit about the developer standpoint behind some of the things as well, and we're going to be talking a lot about just overall just anything related to the community and socialization. We have a great lineup of people from the team that we're going to introduce in just a sec, but first let me just go ahead and say thank you guys so much for coming. Hopefully you guys are having a great day. I'm really excited to have everyone. I do not have an accurate viewer count because things just don't work. So we're looking at anywhere around 20 to 30 people according to my number wherever we're at. So however many people are here, thank you guys so much for taking time out of your day. And we will be moving onward with the stream in just a second. We are going to be having I am going to be posting a giveaway on Twitter right after the stream ends as well, so stay tuned for that. And I think it's overall just going to be a really fun day, really fun stream. So just real quick, if you guys are new to the channel, I just want to talk a little bit about myself just real quick. I am White Tiger 93. Y'all guys can call me the Tiger. I have been playing the game since about 2010, so it's been a bit of a journey being able to see this game evolve, seeing all kinds of players come and go, stick around, return to the game. It's overall just been an absolute blast to play the game for as long as I've been. I've met some incredible people, and it's overall just been the kind of a journey of a lifetime for me. So thank you, Kingsisle, for making such a wonderful game, and I am really proud to be able to do this today. So let us go ahead and introduce the members of the Kingsisle team that we have with us today. Feel free, whoever wants to jump in.
All right, I'll jump in first if nobody's going to go. Hi, I'm Professor Falmea, or otherwise known as Leah Ruben in the real world, and I'm Kingsisle's game director. And I'm super excited for all of our socialization initiatives and getting wizards more wonderful ways to play together. I have a background in psychology, so it's also really interesting to me to work with these things.
All right. Hey, I'm GraniteHeart on the forums. I'm lead designer here at Kingsisle, and been I started working on this social initiative almost a year ago, and then partnering with Gary about it. And so it's been really interesting to see kind of the community's reaction, kind of see what we have in store, and just see how folks interact with it. It's been interesting. It's been cool.
Hi, I'm Gary Scott Smith. I'm a principal engineer. My focus is gameplay, and I've designed or co-designed a lot of stuff, and I've co-designed the social systems with Artie.
I'm Joel. A lot of people know me as Decius. I'm the product manager, and I have worked on a lot of different parts of the game over the years.
My name is Matthew Anderson. I go by Spark in the Wizard 101 community. I'm the senior community manager at Kingsisle, and I am honored to be on this live stream hosted by White Tiger because it's all about social systems, and those really get me excited because it's all about bringing you guys, the players, together. So I'm looking forward to seeing where we go with it today.
All right, so it's been a absolute wonder to see the amount of community interaction between this past year. We've seen a lot of feedback going on with the spell revamp. We've seen a lot of stuff going on with PvP being changed and updated to go into the next age. We've seen more interaction with the housing community. We've seen more changes in the first-time user experience for newer players, and we are still seeing teaser quests and content updates to the higher-level wizards as well. So overall, y'all guys have been really working to kind of cover every aspect of the community, and it has so far been pretty effective, being able to cover as much grounds as y'all guys have. So especially with these roundtables that we have, there's been a lot of content that's been discussed, like I just said, from all different kinds of aspects. So what was the idea behind doing these roundtables, and how has the overall interaction been with the roundtables in the past?
Well, yeah, like during KI Live, we normally can talk about a whole wide variety of things. Like KI Live is normally just packed with stuff. And there was a KI Live where Matt and I, Spark and I got together to talk about, like, maybe there's a way we can connect more directly with the community and really kind of allow us to have a deep discussion about a specific area of the game, so we don't feel like there's a time constraint or a rush to get through things, and so people can ask all the questions that they want. And I think it's been great. I mean, I love it. I love just talking about the things that I'm really involved in, working on, talking to folks about where their impressions of kind of our direction and things like that. Like the Beast Moon one was a lot of fun. And I expect this one to be a lot of fun. So that's kind of where it came from. And I've been enjoying it. I love them. Can't wait.
We did have a pretty good Beastman one. Glad Rocker, if you're listening, shout out to Glad Rocker. Thank you so much for hosting that one. And we had, this would be, I think, our third one if I'm counting right here, and hopefully many more in the future with other community leaders and YouTubers and such that are interested in hosting these, that have a topic of interest. We like to keep them, obviously a little focused if we can. And we certainly have a big topic today, but it's KI Lives are, like you said, Artie, it's a kind of a more formal-ish. We try to have fun with those too, but when we get a chance to on a community live stream, we really are now just chatting about what you guys want to chat about. It's your show, White Tigers in this case, and we have a topic that we're all interested in chatting about.
Well, and like White Tiger mentioned, he mentioned all the different things that we're doing at the same time. It's just a lot of stuff, and so it's really that's what KI Live gives us an opportunity to kind of dive into each of those things just a little bit, more formally, moving along and things like that. And so anyway, just like having more of a deep dive and just having a little chat about things.
They've been really effective. There's been a lot of content discussed in them, and I know a lot of people have been really excited for them as well. There's been a lot of concern with the next PvP update, and I think that Roundtable really was effective. And with Beast Moon being one of the newest events, y'all guys are already gathering back on that as well with Glad Rocker. So overall, they've just been extremely effective, and I think the community has really been enjoying them.
Yeah, awesome. Thanks.
Yeah, we're always into to jump in and chat with y'all about whatever you want to chat about.
And we are in Realm Falmea, by the way, if you guys want to come hang out. We are going to get some kind of picture, of photomancy, screenshot, something. So come on down to the comments in Falmea Realm just to come hang out.
Appreciate that you picked the Falmea Realm. Thank you.
I know, I was thinking about that. Alright, so we've seen, of course, more community interaction, and that kind of comes in connection to the Socialization Initiative that you guys have recently discussed. We've seen more social changes coming in through the past test realms. We've seen the new volunteer feature, which was highly requested, so that way we don't have to go and search for a specific person to help versus they can actually pull us to help them. That is something I've been wanting to see for a while, and overall it has been an absolute blast being able to help people without having to worry about actually finding them. They can find me a lot easier. And from that as well, with the adventure parties that was just recently added in, people can now group together and quest a lot easier and just kind of stay more together. They can arrange times, and overall they're just able to stick together more so versus having to stay on social media or anything like that. So it's really kind of cool to see that kind of social media type style form in the game. And that kind of also goes in tone with the friendly player system, that we're able to post that we are friendly. If you need help, you see us, come ask us, we can help you. Post if you need help. So it's just really cool to see how that's been working. So what really went behind the idea of adding in those systems?
Well,
I'll jump.
Oh, go ahead.
Sorry.
No. Yeah, it's fine.
Well, I'll say that it kind of alleviates some social pressure that I'll feel when I'm playing in games that I don't know if somebody really wants to be social or not. With the friendly flag, it's just this. It's an obvious notification that, hey, I really want to play with people. I want to talk to you. I want you to come up to me and say, hey, let's group, instead of feeling like, oh, maybe they want to group, maybe they don't. So anybody who's kind of like social curious or a little bit shy will know that they're inviting people to play together.
Yeah, and so the governing principle for a lot of what we're doing in the social system initiative is as a high level governing principle. We're making it so that people could make it easier for two strangers to meet in the game, and then track a friendship evolution all the way to them being friends in real life. Like, I don't know if you all saw the documentary about the wizard community, things like that. It's really interesting. And so friendly flag is kind of, like Falmea was mentioning, is kind of like the first step. How can we make it easier or more inviting for one person to talk to another, or one person to go adventuring with another? And the right now we're focusing on sort of being able to play together more easily, being able to find people who are in the same world as you and play together and things like that. But the friendly flag, the reason why it's called that is that we have plans to integrate it into other social systems that are coming. And so it's really about, I'm generally interested in talking and meeting other people. And so it's very clear when you're wandering around who those people are. And now you can find them and adventure with them. And so that's so the friendly flag is really kind of like the first step. How can we make it easier for people to kind of, not feel as worried about talking to someone else because they don't know if the person's going to be receptive to conversing. So now you know.
It's definitely been a really interesting experience as well, because something I love doing is just staying in realms that are full or have a large player population, just because I love seeing players everywhere, and it almost seems like you can just see a never-ending amount of players. You're always meeting someone new in the commons, you're always meeting someone new shopping at the bazaar, you're always meeting someone new in the pet pavilion training. So it's really cool to have this vast community of players, and now there's just like this next step of being able to interact with them more, but you're not pressured to do that. And I think it's a really cool just iteration of how well people can interact without having to necessarily go in an extremely complicated step, and overall just helps people just meet other players, and that's something I really like.
Yeah, we wanted that first step to be as small as a step as possible. So there's no obligation. There's no sort of preconceived notion of like some things are like looking for group or whatever. But we didn't want to go that direction because there's sort of an implied benefit. Like the implication is like, I'm looking for a group to help me adventure or whatever. Whereas this is just, hey, I'm open to meeting meeting folks and playing this game together, whatever it is. And that's why you can see that sort of progression manifests itself in the adventure parties, the message boards, where it's not just about adventuring. We have that option, but it's also about, going and hatching pets or going and playing an event, or it's just kind of like getting in the game and enjoying different aspects of the game, however you want to do it. And so that's kind of why we approach the friendly flag in that way, as opposed to a traditional kind of looking for group thing. Is it felt a bit more casual to just say like, hey, I'm up for whatever you want to do. If you want to hang out and have a dance party in the commons or whatever, that's, we got the friendly flag on. I'm ready for anything. Okay. Sorry, go ahead.
I'm going to say, someone in game is asking, how do you form an adventure party? So, from your guys' perspective, what is the adventure party system, and just overall, how does it work?
I don't want to dominate the conversation so much, but I'll answer this one. So basically, the adventure party is a permanent group. So, and it has a communication layer, an asynchronous communication layer to it called the message board. So the way you form a group is you need to have a level 30 character. And then if you're in a full group, if you form a group and you're in a full group, then there's a button in the new social UI group under the group tab that says form an adventure party. That button becomes active when you're in a group. And then you can create this adventure party and you can name it, and then you can invite people into it, and then you can start to coordinate play sessions with the message board so that not everyone has to be online to coordinate a play session. You get online on Monday and you say you want to go kind of run Darkmoor or something on Friday. You can kind of throw that in there as a message board, and then you don't necessarily need to log in till Friday. And anyone in the adventure party who logs in between time will see that, and they can react to it by saying they're going to go or not. And so you'll come in and you say, oh yeah, look, there's 4 or 5 different people want to go adventuring on Friday, and so anyway, that's where it is. And again, this is sort of a stepped social progression, with friendly flag being the smallest step, and then a group, which is a temporary gathering of players, get through, or even a combat if you want to take it one step below that. Like a combat is just one combat. I can join a combat, and we did things to kind of encourage that as well. Encourage filling up combat sigils and joining other people's combat. And then you could form a group, and now you have sort of an adventuring for that session. I've got this group of people that I'm doing stuff with. And then it turns out, like, if you like the people that you've grouped with, then you go ahead and make an adventure party. And now it's a permanent association. You can give the adventure party a name, an identity, but there's no obligation to the adventure party. There's not like, achievements or levels or anything. And it's just sort of a permanent association with people that you like playing the game with. And then you use the message board to kind of make sure that you guys can get together and adventure together more frequently, if you want. And then we went ahead and we said, like, well, we should have like multiple adventure parties. Someone could be in multiple. I mean, not an infinite number, but go ahead and like have different adventure parties based on kind of whatever. Maybe this one is adventuring, and this other one is like pets and events, and this other one's like PvP or whatever. And you'll have all these different groups scheduling different things, and you can hang out with the people that you can coordinate and make sure that you're hanging out with the people that you like, and maybe meet new people and things like that. So yeah, I think it's a really cool system, and we're kind of putting it out there, kind of on the DL, I suppose. Like, we're not formally onboarding it right now. We're letting people discover it organically, and then we'll monitor feedback and stuff to try to make sure that we address any sort of things we missed or things that don't work as well as we wanted or as we intended. And then kind of once we get it to that point, we'll we'll make sure to increase awareness and stuff.
And I like that it's all in one simple button. All you got to do is go up to the top, click on your social button, and you have everything. You have your group page, you have your adventure party, you can volunteer for team up. It's all listed in this one exact spot right here, which is really cool.
I'm in your adventure party now. Or as soon as you hit the yes button, do it.
Awesome, awesome. So like I said, it's just simple. Click on the button, and you have everything right here, easy to access, and a very simple layout. And like we can see here, adventure parties are permanent made groups. You can invite players, you can set a few different groups, and you can go in here, you can name it to whatever you want. We'll name it the, I don't know, the Fire Golden Puppies, because that's what we are, the Fiery Golden Puppies. And now we have an adventure party set up right here. Everything is right here. We have the party right here. We have everything. We can see all our members. We can see overall all of the just ability to send messages and that kind of thing. It's all in one simple layout. We can meet up, we can create time zones, we can message other people, we can go and say what we're doing. Are we questing? Are we doing a dungeon? Are we doing Beast Moon, PvP, hanging out, derby, house party, pets, anything. It has everything you need. The time zones is supposed to auto complete, if I'm correct on that, so everyone automatically knows what time it is because it self-adjusts.
It does indeed.
That's amazing.
And I saw a comment about Stranger Danger. That's one reason why we have set fields, and there's no place that anybody can type their own chat. We wanted to make sure that there is a way for our community to make events and meet up, but also keep keep it safe and family friendly, just like the rest of the game.
Exactly. It's really cool just because this it covers everything, like you were saying. It's just just like the ultimate way just to meet people and kind of interact with other people more. And there is a lot of interest with that, like I said, or like you were saying, with kind of that stranger danger aspect. Do you have to be able to be friends with people to do this? And so it has a really just simple layout where you can actually go and click on members of the community when you're just walking around. You can click on people to send them an invite. You can turn your invite notifications off in the game, so if you guys don't want to see that, there's definitely these layers of filtering.
Did I get disconnected?
No. Hey, maybe you want to mute? We lost you, White Tiger. Where'd you go? I don't know if we're still talking.
He's running around.
There you are. Yeah, we see you in game.
The one thing I'll mention is Gary just said the time zone tech was tricky. I don't know if he wants to jump in and talk about that, but I said I was really impressed that got working, because it would be really challenging because we have people that play from all around. I mean, especially the U.S., but all around the world.
Exactly. It's really cool because with other people in different time zones, and it doesn't matter where you're at, all across the globe, we're all getting together and we can interact very seamlessly and just overall very simple to do all this. So that was very, very well done.
Yeah, and like Falmea said, the first thing is about providing a safe environment for people to sort of start creating in-game friendships and things like that. And a lot of that went into the details of the message board, because we knew we wanted to allow people to coordinate play sessions asynchronously, so I can you don't have to rely on an external communication method to do it, and you don't have to be online at the same time, of course. So we were like, we were limiting it. We didn't want to pull up a full calendar because we didn't want the message board to get too full of stuff. We wanted to just kind of keep it light and purposeful, and really to kind of hit the goal of what we wanted, which was allowing all these people who've made this permanent sort of association, give them the tools to go ahead and create play session appointments within the next week. We didn't feel like there was any reason to go beyond that, and just it was a challenge for Gary to get the time zone right, but it's a critical component, right? Especially with the spectrum of age ranges we're talking about. Did we really want people trying to figure out time? I mean, I can't even do it, so like time zone stuff. So I'm glad Gary got it fixed, so like I don't have to worry about it. But yeah. So anyway, I'm really happy with the adventure party system. And like I said, there's no obligation for anyone to stay in or drop out. You've got multiples, so there's not a lot of pressure to say like, well, whatever, should I join this one or not? There's 3 slots, so we're trying to. The adventure party is just one more step in this sort of this social structure hierarchy, where we create this permanence and this asynchronous communication. Meanwhile, maintaining still maintaining that casual relationship. There's no obligation. There's no pressure on any sort of. There is a party leader, but there's not a sense of obligation, because there's not a lot of things to coordinate as the party leader. There's very few things that they have to manage or anything. So it's nothing like, what a guild might be or something like that. It's more casual.
Did you say the G word?
No. No, I didn't.
What G word? I didn't hear G word.
But yeah, Gary mentioned something that I think is important, and I mentioned it sort of a little bit earlier, but to be more direct about it, is we're introducing these things in a phased approach, right? So like going one step at a time, and then we will, again, like I mentioned, we'll let players discover it, and then we'll listen to their feedback, talk to you all in roundtables, on the forums, kind of wherever, looking at Reddit or Twitter, whatever, and then make some improvements and make some polishes. Like changes are going to come online for the adventure parties are going to get some polish and additional functionality. We are looking at the volunteers and making some improvements in the friendly flag and those things. And so really this is sort of a long game for us. Like I can't speak for Gary necessarily, but I don't necessarily feel pressure to hit a certain feature set at a certain date. Like we'll introduce the next phase of things when we feel it's appropriate, because we need to sort of evaluate the direction the community would like it to go. So like, yeah, we create designs on paper and things, but we're also understand this sort of, it becomes a fluid process. And so, we're paying attention to everybody and their feedback and just how people are interacting with it, and it helps inform direction for maybe what we forgot or what should be next. We may have an idea of, well, we go this direction next, and then it turns out we shouldn't. We should go a different direction. That's why this sort of level of communication is really critical, because it's a partnership with the community. I mean, these tools are to benefit the community and benefit new users into finding people who really enjoy Wizard and are positive members of the community who want to find like-minded people and make friends with them, and so that's kind of what we're doing.
Yeah, it's actually really wonderful the fact that we get to get so much feedback from the community about making the community type features. Like, I don't think that we could properly do it if we just sat down and designed it on our own in a vacuum. I think we would be doing a misservice with that.
Right. Yeah. I mean,
totally a team effort, and y'all are part of our team.
Yeah, absolutely. That's why I mentioned that documentary about the community, and then, everybody on the team watches various community members' videos and things like that, and so we're very much aware and listening to kind of, and trying to figure out what would be best to support the Wizard community, because I feel like the Wizard community is pretty unique in MMOs generally. So I don't want to do anything that would jeopardize what people enjoy about Wizard's community. What we're trying to do is give tools and sort of strengthen those things that that people find important about Wizards, like safe communication, fun, casual gameplay, things like that, and a lot of self-expression. And so I think, that's why adventure parties is important, that you be able to give it a name and things like that. And so anyway, that's just kind of what we're focused on. And I've been talking a lot.
Artie's really good at that.
Oh no, you are completely fine. I mean, I just love hearing everything from y'all guys' perspective.
Yeah. Yeah, and it's cool. I mean, yeah, I could talk forever. Like I think Falmea and I had an hour meeting that took to 2 hours today, just because I can talk for an eternity about things.
That is very, very true.
And I can write really fast, like in Teams. In Teams, if I'm writing Gary stuff, he'll just call me. He'll be like, "Man, I can't keep up. We're just gonna have a conversation. Let's just have a conversation." And I'm like, "All right, yeah, that's cool."
I always wonder how you have time to do all the documentation you do too.
Yeah, well, like recently when I was writing like 5 or 6 meeting summaries a day and then doing all this stuff, I don't know.
Fastest fingers at Kingsisle.
Yeah. So anyway, it's fun.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
So, with all this in, so is there any new features we can expect, or just overall some cleaning up of adventure parties and just the things that we've already seen? What's really kind of on the agenda going forward with that?
I may let Falmea answer that, and then I can go into details about whatever she feels is appropriate to reveal.
I see how
I can't be trusted. I can't be trusted.
I see how this goes. One thing I will say is that there were a few things that we either didn't necessarily have time to get in for adventure parties, or things that we found while seeing it in the wild. So there's going to be some polish coming up here soon. Let's see. What else? What else am I missing?
I mean, believe me, the docket is full, and so it's just a matter of like, what are folks prepared to?
Right.
Kind of,
I was
I can talk
thinking,
about any of it.
what was the absolute next thing? I mean, that's obviously not the biggest feature or nearly of anything. I mean, we have this big long list of 30 things that we want to do and that are in the socialization bucket. Some of them are way too early to talk about. I mean, but yeah, and I would say for fall, we're primarily focusing on kind of cleaning up some of the things that we want to do, reacting to feedback, to some of the things that we've put out. We do have some other big things coming up in fall, but that's not necessarily in the socialization vein.
Right. Yeah. More immediately in the upcoming release. There's each of these sort of systems. We have a huge list of things we'd like to do ultimately, and then we prioritize it and then try to phase it in, so that what we don't want to do, like Decius mentioned, of course, we don't want to come up with. I mean, we come up with an exhaustive list, but we don't want to necessarily execute on that. We want to execute on what is core features, and then kind of start to evaluate the community's interaction with whatever we did, because some of the things that we may have assumed would be valuable to the player isn't going to be. And so then there's no point in putting a lot of time and effort into implementing ideas that may not be important in light of people actually getting it in their hands. And the other thing that makes some of these social things a bit difficult is that it's not really a test realm thing. Like these are large population things. And so, test realm feedback, it's tricky to get any action. I mean, other than just core functionality, it's tricky to get sort of usability feedback, because there's people aren't necessarily adventuring. Like we can get Beast Moon feedback because people can take a couple hours out and go from seeing what their hatches are going to be and go play an adventure. or play a match. But with adventure parties and things like that, it's a lot trickier. So we just have to get it out there, and as I mentioned, there's no point in going fast, right? There really isn't. What we need to make sure is that the next step is the right step
Yeah.
versus just taking a step to take it. You know what I mean?
Yes. Professor Falmea, you had something you were going to say.
Oh, yeah, sorry. And so one thing that that we did before that we rolled back, speaking of the, we can't really evaluate it until we get it out in the wild and see how people interact with it, was we had changed the group to mob ratio. We tried to make the change that when you put a second wizard in combat, it didn't bring that extra mob. We thought that this would be cool for newbies because, it might be overwhelming to have more mobs in combat, and it would kind of make the stigma of, oh, hey, somebody joined my combat, now I have to do more work. Like, people would jump into combat, but at higher levels, it wasn't necessarily the greatest idea, and we didn't get great feedback on it. So we rolled it back, and that's one reason why we're going kind of slow with this. We're trying stuff out. We want to see what y'all think and how y'all react to it and how you use the tools that we're giving you to play the game. And sometimes it's just not what we expect, and that's okay.
Please do let us know. Like, watch the recording. You can post about your comments of, oh, the devs have asked about, what I think of adventure parties and these other systems. Post something in our forums. Post something in @Wizard101 on Twitter or hashtag Wizard101. And it was brought up a little bit ago. I think Artie, you had mentioned it, that Test Realm, that's where we get a lot of our feedback, but we also get a lot of feedback right now on live too, and sometimes that feedback changes a little bit from Test Realm to live. We see changes there, but sometimes it's just amplified. In the case of adventure parties, it seems like a lot of you all are enjoying the feature. If you have questions on how to get started with it, maybe we need to put out more guides and keep talking about it. But do let us know. Even if it's perfectly fine and you're just like, hey, this is great, and I have really nothing to say about it, well, let us know, and we'll give a thumbs up.
Right. Yeah. Like I mentioned before, this is really providing sort of tools and structure for the community to make friends in the game, and so the community's feedback is valuable, really valuable, about, like, what are the challenges with finding people to play with or whatever. Yeah, so let us know. Let us know, because your feedback, it definitely influences direction. Let's just say that. It does not fall on deaf ears. I internalize all of it. I remember all of it, all things.
All things.
I remember all
Wow.
things.
Wow.
I catalog all things in my brain. Yeah. So anyway, yeah. What do you guys want to talk about next?
Definitely that. Just want to touch on that. There are so many different ways to provide feedback. There is of course, your main Twitter feeds, and then you also have the dev account over on Twitter as well. The other guys have been posting like PvP statistics as well. And you got the forums, we have YouTube videos, and there's just a huge amount of ways to provide feedback. And then, of course, in-game as well, during Test Realm, y'all guys have that badge where you can just instantly send the feedback, which is overall just really cool that there are so many options just everywhere that there is ways to provide feedback. So always guys, make sure you guys are providing feedback. There's a lot of work that goes into developing these features, and I know y'all guys are listening to the community. Y'all guys have been touching on the community in different places with these roundtables, with trying to cover everything, and overall it's just been really really cool to see that community interaction.
Yeah, I agree. And my presence on the forums basically is inversely proportional to my workload, and so, like, around introduction to Test Realm or whatever, I'll end up being more active on the forums. But I do read them. I may not post, And
I'll
then
usually link
Spark lets
something.
me know. Yeah.
Yeah, I'll like send you, hey, they're saying, they're calling you out specifically. I think this is a great question or whatever it is. I'll send you a link and you'll make a little response and move on. Yeah.
Yeah.
Wonderful.
Speaking of questions, do we have more? White Tiger 93. What do we got here?
1 second. It may
I don't
or
know
may
if you
not
want to
have
keep talking about
closed.
that topic. We could just tell Artie to keep going. Otherwise,
Yeah, I can talk about whatever. I mean,
Artie, go.
releasing, letting me off my leash. That'd be good. Yeah, I don't know. Whatever you guys want to talk about, really, just ask away. I mean, we kind of went over what we're working on more immediately, and we talked about sort of what our focus is during this sort of initiative, which really encompasses a lot of different systems, and it's going to be something that extends for probably a couple more years at least. So it probably never stop really improving these things, but as we introduce new systems, it's probably a couple of years more. So there's plenty of space for polish and iteration, things like that.
Definitely looking back at the beginning of the game when we had just groups where you can just kind of come together and hey, this is cool and all, and now we actually have like full-on party type systems that we can all get together and be able to organize, which is overall really cool. So I love being able to interact more with people and being able to come together without having to have an outside source of social media or anything like that to do that. So it's really cool just to see how that's kind of evolved.
Yeah, it was important to us to do that as opposed to, I know a lot of games for older audiences kind of rely on the Discord or whatever for communication. But for us, like I said, we not only have a wide spectrum of ages of players, but we also have a wide spectrum of gamer experience too. So it's like if we can kind of try to keep a lot of that critical communication in game, it just means more people will be able to do it. So
yeah,
which is
that's
what we're looking for.
That's a really good point, Artie. The game is where you're playing the game, you're getting with your friends, and you want to have and it's nice of experience as possible with a diverse range of friends, depending on what you're doing in the game. And we are tailoring these systems to make it accessible for your group, and now your adventure party, and whoever's in it. And if that can be in game, that identification of your friends and those who you interact with, that's really the most important. If you meet somebody outside of the game, you bring some new player into the game, some friend in real life you just met, and you're like, hey, come over and play Wizard 101 with me. We want to make sure you have a tool in the game, multiple tools to be able to reach out to them instead of having to continually bounce back and forth between social media. As important as being a community manager, I have to have the love for social media as well, and it definitely has its place, as does our forums and everywhere else. But at the end of the day, if we're all in game and we're all having fun in the game, then all the better.
Definitely, which kind of leads into the next question that I wanted to ask y'all guys. Because y'all guys have been working so much on being able to organize together and get everyone together without having to have social media, do y'all guys have any interest in planning anything else to expand more on that, to include in-game events, such as being able to form a large temporary party, being able to message a host of an event directly, or teleport to a host castle, or anything along those lines?
Yes.
And that's the show, folks.
Thanks for watching.
Yeah, yes. Roll credits. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, that's what I mean. There's like I mentioned, there's a progression to these systems, as we go from friendly flag to combat sigil to group to adventure party. I mean, there's a natural progression of where we're kind of where we expect people who are like-minded and enjoy playing the game with each other and kind of allowing them to kind of develop a friendship, and then kind of expanding and diversifying the things they can do as a group. So yeah, I mean that's definitely right along the lines of that thinking. Now, what are the specifics? Well, right now we still need to see sort of what adventure parties, how people interact with the adventure parties, and kind of some of the things that we can do, and then we'll do them. Yeah, if people want it, that's the direction we'll go. So, but yeah, we're definitely looking at what are the things that creating things that people can do as a group. Like, I mean, as a good example is just Beast Moon, which had us increase the group size from 4 to 6, and is totally it was more of a cooperative, or you have to work with the other people. You really have to coordinate with the other people, which isn't really something that's normally something that Wizard does often. And so, that is sort of the direction. Like, we want to try to allow people to do more things as a group, like whether it's house parties or kind of anything. But
definitely, when there's different groups all around the community that have been around, as long as the game's been around, and then new groups still popping up on an everyday basis, such as different groups like Final Bastion, Arcanum Archives, the Visions of the Spiral. They're just famous for hosting all sorts of events that people can really come together and interact more and just coordinate all kinds of stuff, whether it be a run around Wizard City, a gifting festival, or if it would be going to do like a house party or something along those lines, or a fashion show at a player's castle, hide and seek. With Arcanum Archives, we actually had a hide and seek where we all hid as pet eggs earlier this year, and we went around
nice.
And we hid around Wizard City, and that was honestly a ton of fun. People were able to go around and search for us. So organizing these events is definitely a lot of fun, and seeing stuff like adventure parties, that's definitely going to help in the long run, and I'm really excited to see where that kind of goes from here, from that event coordination standpoint.
Yeah, right. Yeah. And a lot of the things you mentioned, like, if right, and we've touched upon some of that, and we're thinking and considering some of these things. And like I said, we have a host of ideas, and so we at this point we have an idea of where we want to go over the next year, but then it's going to be things like hearing from you guys and seeing, is there a need here that may be of a higher priority than what we had thought previously, and then we'll shift our priorities. But anyway, we have talked about certain things like that, like making it easier to coordinate and organize a house party or an event of some kind, and as a group, and trying to get sort of letting new players interact with them as well, so that it doesn't become too exclusive or anything. And I think this is great. This is great feedback, though, for sure.
And definitely something along those lines as well, because there are player-hosted events like that. There are player-hosted PvP events as well, from Dual Circle, and coming up, I believe, is the Sauce and Staff Showdown. I could be wrong on that, but I believe that is coming up. And lots of just player-made tournaments, which is really cool to see. And we've done interaction before. I have shoutcasted before some of these tournaments. They're a lot of fun to see, and it involves this level of interaction at the arena and trying to set up our custom matches. So adventure parties is definitely going to help out with that. But is there anything on the table for players to be able to host any type of PvP activities at their own castles?
Well, yes and yes and no, right? So maybe not at their own castles, but I'm working with Ratbeard in sort of kind of overhauling or re-envisioning the PvP system in general, and then we're trying to plan for future uses of the PvP structure that we're coming up with. And so, yeah, we've definitely talked about player-hosted tournaments and things like that. And that falls into the same category in my mind as player-hosted events or player-initiated events, which have been discussed also. So yes and no. So yes, we're thinking about it, and I don't know that it would be in a individual's castle, but it may be hosted somewhere else.
All right, really cool to hear that from y'all guys, because I know that's something a lot of people have been kind of talking about. And like I said, from as part of Arcanum Archives and Visions of the Spiral, there is a lot of event coordinating. So things like this definitely do help us out in the long run as well, being able to organize more in the groups and just kind of be able to interact more. It's really cool to see where that's going, and I can't wait to see where it ends up.
Yeah, me too. So yeah, I mean, we have ideas, and I hope they work. And some of the things you're mentioning are things that have been discussed, and some of which are kind of planned, like they're more direction we're going, and but some of them are new things to consider about like how we may end up structuring everything.
All right. And then one last thing that I wanted to touch on a little bit here was something that a lot of people have been talking about, because y'all guys have been coordinating to various different communities, like I've said, from castle decorating to PvP, which, by the way, with the new housing kind of update, where there's been a lot more attention to being able to rate castles, visit castles, and the spiral events that we've had that have been more interactable with that. What has the response been to that?
Gary, this may be up your alley.
Okay, I guess I can unmute. Like everything in the game, some players love it and some players ignore it. So, but the players that really like it, you can, whenever the spiral scene is going on, if you hang out in castle tours, you see a steady stream of people going in to go raid houses. So that's pretty neat.
I really like seeing that, just like I said, just that sole attention to different parts of the community. And so going forward, y'all guys have targeted all sorts of things from PvP to side systems, and even a smaller detail that's been a little while back now was the hatchery. Hey, y'all guys updated it with the pet hatching kiosk, and now players have been able to hatch their pets to the stats they prefer a little more. I know a lot of newer players were kind of struggling a little bit trying to build up their perfect pet that they wanted. So that is a really good spot right there for them to be able to move forward with that. So it's really cool seeing changes like that. The smaller stuff, they kind of adds up to the bigger picture.
Yeah, there was a lot of friction actually beforehand with hatching pets before the kiosk. That's a great one that Gary put in there.
Actually, I co-designed that with Matthew. So, yeah, and hatchmaking was actually his name that we kept. So we kept his name, and I co-designed it with him, and then I programmed it.
The other Matthew, not me.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah, I don't program.
in your spare time.
I could try.
Yeah.
Too many Matts and Matthews at the company. It's hard to keep them track.
Yeah, we when Gary and I are working on the social stuff, we do try to keep in mind all the different side systems, and then as a product of that, there can be improvements, or you may see things impact appear in other places. Like, I think one of the things with housing, feel like it would be great to bring greater awareness to just the power and versatility of the castle magic system that Gary came up with. And so this event is one way to sort of attempt to shine a light on it. And, we do keep an eye on that as we're kind of moving forward, as to, how can we make more people aware of and appreciate sort of the power of what the Castle Magic system can do, and how interesting it is, and all the things that people have done with it, letting people sort of show off all their hard work in housing. That's why the housing tour is sort of an interesting step in that direction. But yeah, but we're keeping an eye, like we're mindful of all these things, whether it's something like that or pets or any of these other things. We're trying to keep an eye on. There's different aspects of the game that have a sort of great depth and that people sort of focus their attentions and energies on.
And that kind of leads up as well to the next topic that I wanted to bring up. Was there is obviously this kind of huge level of how we're all interacting, and there's a new kind of an idea that I wanted to discuss, because I know I've kind of seen it elsewhere. I've kind of seen people kind of discuss a little bit, and I really wanted to hear what y'all guys had to say, which was, we've seen kind of with the decathlon how there was like the progression bar where you can earn points, you can build up to try to achieve something, and we've seen that with the Scroll of Fortune as well. Is there a way or anything on the table that there could be a weekly event or an event based on a specific area that all players could do tasks to contribute to an overall progression for some rewards?
So I'll jump in and at least start this one. Like you said, the decathlon at first had some community goals, and the decathlon was an evolution of a community event, which was a little more focused on that. It was getting the community together to accomplish goals, and that was actually the central point of it. Was everybody gets together and does X thing, and then Y happens. Uh, we kind of moved away from it after it didn't really work out that well during the decathlon. But we still have some of the functionality there in the events. So yeah, we could definitely look into a community participation event type of thing. One of the challenges with that is just uh, predicting the correct amount of thing X that we wanted people to do, because it's a really big guessing game, and it's not interesting if it's too easy, and it's not interesting and frustrating if it's too difficult. So uh, it's been something we've actually been really interested in, to the point where we made a thing, and it just didn't work out that well with the way that we implemented it at first. I don't know if anybody else wants to jump in on that one, but I'm really interested in that. I'd really like to take a crack at it sometime again in the future.
Yeah, my problem with it conceptually is that all wizards in Wizard 101 can't be. It's too big to consider it a community, right? There's too many people, so there's no. It's very difficult to kind of communicate a sort of a reaction to effort, right? And it's very difficult to kind of understand your contributions because it's just too big, and then it's impossible to coordinate because, again, there's just too many wizards. So I like the idea of a community, right? But then it's about defining what is a community. All the players of Wizard 101, I don't consider to be a singular community. There's a lot of sub communities that exist, like whether it's PvPers or people who do adventuring or people who like to do pets or whatever. And so, yeah.
Oh, sorry, I was just gonna jump in and say I can absolutely clarify that doing the first two PvP roundtables, the community there was a completely different community than the housing roundtable that we did. It was just in almost entirely separate groups. So I get what you're saying.
Yeah.
So,
So anyway, go ahead.
I had a
Decius.
thing. Yeah, thank you. So when we put together the chat groups, right? Because you can join different chat groups. We had thought that that would be a way for people to gather and have their own smaller communities within the larger group. And those chat groups exist until the last person has logged off, and then it goes away. But we had originally talked about making it so that if you're fishing, you automatically get put into the fishing chat group, and then you would be talking to other people that were fishing. Same thing if you were crafting or if you were doing other side systems like in the pet pavilion, you could be put in that kind of a chat. And I don't know if we ever really got that across and to make that a thing that everyone could see and tell that that's what was happening.
I really like what you were just saying there, how every aspect of community is vastly different, whether you're questing or you're doing player versus player, or if you're fishing, crafting. All these little side systems kind of have their own pieces to it. So in the future, could you see something such as a limited time event that you could be able to join along those lines, that you could build up and progress together?
Yes, like we have a concept of helping to create give a structure to creating an association of players based on their what subsystem or what area of the game they're interested in. And so, like, if I'm interested in pets, there may end up being sort of a social construct around pets. I'm part of the pet whatever club or something. And then within that, now you have all the people who are interested in pets, and they can all work on a goal. They could all come together and work on a goal, because at that point, because the community becomes a manageable size, where there's kind of an opt-in thing where I'm going to be joining this club, and then I'll be working, or I can kind of contribute to the betterment of the club, or or whatever. So that we have that concept, that construct concept, but there's not a lot of specifics to it yet. But it is something that we want to do.
All right. So, going off like that, something that really just kind of drew my mind to that was with fishing, because there's like the fishing tournament, there's the catch of the day, and just kind of how people can get together without having to be in the same place at the same time to kind of work towards something, which is something I was really interested in. So that's kind of where I got that from. So really interesting to hear all of y'all guys' thoughts on that. One last thing before we go towards the end of the stream, because we are going to be wrapping up within the next 20 or so minutes, and we do want to answer some of y'all guys' questions in chat as well, because we know y'all guys have been asking all sorts of questions. So right before we get into that, one big question that I have seen pretty much everywhere, and something that I've been wanting to see for a little while, is would there ever be the implementation of a mailbox feature, or kind of a saved messages, to where people can message their friends when they're offline, so that they'll be able to see them when they get back online? That way there's more interaction without having to be online at the same time. And what could be the limitations of that?
Well, the message board was the first sort of stab at that, right? Like this asynchronous communication system. And so, and as I mentioned before, we'll look at how the community is interacting with things and how they're embracing or using things or not, and then that's going to inform our direction. But the message board was sort of a first step in towards a direction of facilitating or building an asynchronous communication system to help players coordinate play sessions with friends. So really, at that point, we need to see, is this something people want and use, and et cetera. And then at that point, we should evaluate where the deficits might be and what the message board can do versus what a mailbox could do. And so it'd be a question of what's the value of a single of a wizard to wizard messaging system, like what's being communicated and things like that, like, because that'll drive kind of direction and the limitations. Like right now I wouldn't be able to tell you the limitations yet, because right now the defined purpose of the mailbox system is kind of unknown until we kind of see, like, is the community interested in this sort of thing? Are they gonna, would they utilize it? What would it be useful for? And then it's a question of, can the message board system be modified in such a way to kind of address those deficits, or is there really something vital about a wizard-to-wizard communication system that the message board simply can't do by its nature? And so, it is an ongoing conversation, though. It's always something we're kind of processing, because it's a asynchronous communication device that we know that asynchronous communication is going to be really important for groups of real people to kind of get together and communicate and sort of have fun in the game. So
Quick
it is,
clarification there. When we're talking about message boards, we're not talking about the forums or they're sometimes known as message boards or discussion forums. There's like a half a dozen different ways of saying it. When you go to wizard101.com/forum, that's an completely out of game tool, and that's not what you're talking about, Artie, right?
Right. I'm talking about the message board that is part of an adventure party.
Yeah.
So that was where the message board's origins came from, discussions about sort of a mailbox system, and so we identified the problems that we were attempting to solve with this asynchronous communication system, and the message board felt like a better solution to the problems we identified to solve at the beginning. And so, like I said, we may find that there is a compelling need for a wizard-to-wizard communication, but at this stage of the social initiative, we didn't see it. We saw that the message board was addressing the things we wanted to address at this point. So
The social. Oh, go ahead.
Nope. You first.
I was going to say that the social initiative is a multi-year long plan, and each piece is going in slowly to make sure that we get proper feedback for it.
Yeah, definitely. I will say that we're not saying, "Oh, hey, great idea, mailbox. We've never thought of that." I think I've had across my desk, I've seen at least 2 different versions of a game design document about some sort of mailbox or messaging feature. One reason why it's a little bit tricky for us is I keep going back to wanting to keep it safe and friendly for everybody. If you give another person to person direct asynchronous communication, avenue, there's always the potential for harassment or abuse. So we want to make sure that we think on ways that are within the Wizard 101 spirit and ethos. If we just give the ability for direct messages offline, then it could potentially give somebody a way to spam somebody or harass somebody, and we don't want to do that. So we want to figure out the best way to give people ways to communicate and connect without it being abused or it going a bad way.
Right, I can definitely see that, how it could be very difficult to kind of keep track of that, to filter and moderate that kind of system as well. So definitely see what you're saying. Thank you guys for your input on that. Really do appreciate it. I know it's something a lot of people have been kind of interested in, and you said you've already seen different kind of iterations of that, and that's been discussed. So seeing stuff like that, or the adventure parties being a permanent style group where everybody can kind of have this ability to see and kind of mention or message each other, is kind of definitely a step towards that idea. So really do appreciate that feature has been implemented.
Right. Yeah. And like I said, as we go, we identify sort of the things we want to enable and support the community to do, and the message boards fit the sort of the mission of the adventure party better than a direct messaging kind of system. And but it's that concept is of direct messaging is still there, and so we'll consider it as we kind of move into other areas to see if there's a compelling case to make it like that versus simply expanding the message board's functionality.
All right, I think that is pretty much everything that we kind of had set on the agenda. So, chat, if y'all guys have any questions y'all guys want to ask related to the community, interacting, being social in-game, anything like that, feel free to ask it right now. And if you guys have anything else y'all guys want to add or touch on, feel free.
I've been kind of keeping an eye on some of the questions. I wanted to say that, yeah, we covered it a little bit earlier, but yes, it converts to your time zone. So say I'm in Austin and I say I want to meet up at 5 p.m. If somebody's in New York, they'll see, oh, we want to meet up at, what is it, 6 p.m.? Whatever it is, it will translate it. Even if I can't, the game's smarter than me.
Yeah, that's why I said it's like, I can't do it. If I can't do it, can younger people do it? Older people, I don't know. But Gary figured it out, and then so he did all the heavy lifting for us. So.
Right, it's like, okay, what time do we get on? 4? My 4, your 4? 4 o'clock, just go.
Yeah, who's
4?
4? I see Maybe says having a mailbox can have the same features where you ignore somebody. It also shouldn't allow them to mail you anything. Yeah, absolutely. We would certainly take that and probably many more steps to make sure that people had the ability to shut down the ability to send messages to or receive messages from people who they don't want to get.
Something that I did get a message from earlier, and I was seeing earlier in chat, someone was talking about combat and players joining in combat and people that want to do more combat-oriented stuff with other players, but they might have a little bit of a harder time finding players that do want to do more questing. Have y'all guys considered looking at a feature such as a massive raid or kind of a like major dungeon style event where more players could be able to come together from 4 to 6 or even 8 players can all come together in a single area instead of just the standard 4 sigil?
We have absolutely discussed that. Certainly can't promise if or when, but we like the idea probably as much or if not even more than y'all do.
Yes.
Beast Moon had 6.
I was just about to mention that as well. I was going to say we saw that with Beast Moon having more players in a single area.
Yeah, it is something we're investigating and would like to do.
Trying to think, does anybody else have any other questions they want to ask the team while they are here?
And I was gonna say I have heard, I didn't see anything in chat, but we did drop the G word earlier. I'll say that it's absolutely something that we're considering, but it's still pretty far away. We want to get some of these these smaller systems and get all the systems that we have in game tip top before we start doing anything super big like that. So
yeah, it's something that we have to take deliberate steps forward in making sure that what we're doing is going to support what the community finds interesting about Wizards community. And so, of course, we're considering and looking at the G word guilds, but we have to make sure that that's the right direction, right? There's a lot of things that I think people look at other games or whatever, and they see the benefit of that sort of larger structure and things like that. But there are downsides to it, and that's why I think we need to be careful about kind of where we head with that. Will it end up making let's just say, for instance, like White Tiger had mentioned how crowded Commons is often. But what there could be a risk if we say, okay, we're going to let you create a guild, and then all of a sudden are you only doing stuff with your guild, and so then does that depopulate Commons, which is a great social environment? And so we just have to be careful about kind of exactly what we do and in exactly the direction that we go. But yeah, it is something that we're considering.
And I will say, chat, we're answering questions on community stuff. So I've seen some questions on a lot of other stuff, but we're focused on community this time.
100% anything community related that y'all guys want to ask. Somebody did mention this. It's been a little while back, but I wanted to take note of it because I kind of had something I wanted to add to it. But somebody asked if we could just have like a dance floor where everybody could get together, like in the Commons or anywhere, and just kind of get together, hang out, and dance. And something I kind of thought off of that idea was we have a bunch of new emotes that have been appearing in the game. They've appeared in the Scroll of Fortune, in the Crown Shop. Would y'all guys add in a interface to where you could easily access all of your emotes in a single section?
Yeah, I'd say that's I know that there's some other games out there that have slightly better, more updated interfaces for emotes and dances. It's something we've been thinking about. Don't see any downside to it. We see a lot of upside. It's just it's always challenging to pick what 10 ideas out of the bucket of hundreds that we put into each update. So yeah, it's a really good idea. I think we'd like to do that in the future.
Dance party written down.
So we actually I had a dance housing item made a few years ago, and we've put it out in a few different ways in a few different places, where you can put the dance floor in your house, and then I think it lets up to 6 players all jump in and have their own unique little dances at the same time. Are you saying you want something like that in a public area?
Something along those lines, just like one of the buildings in the Commons where people can just walk in and just kind of, just one big massive dance floor where everyone can just kind of, it's just kind of like another step to hanging out in that sense.
I think one of the things when people try to get together, especially at somebody's house, somewhere that isn't like publicly automatically accessible or easy to find, is they have to teleport and gather together. And I think along this lines, somewhere public that can be easily just, hey, go there, is I think what we're talking about, and then everybody knows the theme of the location.
So in Pirate, I actually made a thing called the Party Room, which I don't know if anyone actually uses much anymore, but it was a housing item that took you to a public space, and that public space was themed and had a bunch of different things depending on the season. So I can imagine seeing something similar to that or something off the Commons. I can put it in my list of things to think about and for the future.
Alright, I can't remember who exactly mentioned the idea of a dance floor, but that is something that we just got an answer for.
I think we have that, all of us have that in the back of our minds as an idea.
Are there any other ideas related to interacting and socializing? There anything you guys want to add to the conversation, both the Kingsisle team and the chat?
See, I'm seeing community skate park, arcade. Yeah, just the idea of kind of making different spaces for everybody to hang out and do something. Like the pet park was something that we put together as a zone for a specific kind of hangout and useful purpose. might be cool to look into some other ways to do that, and we've had some talks around that as well. And let's see, considered making harder content to encourage players to work together. I'll start this one, and Artie, you let me know if you want to elaborate on it. We want to make sure that our the mainline story is achievable for pretty much everybody. We want that to be really like kind of enjoyable, maybe not relaxing, but kind of relaxing content that you can just kind of play through and enjoy. We certainly do like the idea of making some more difficult content, but probably wouldn't be mainline. That's like skeleton key bosses or other things that we do in the future.
Yeah, that's kind of the goal. Like, Wizard is about a lot about story and interesting characters and things like that, and that's really what mainline is kind of geared towards. Just funny, interesting stories that you have throughout the spiral and things like that. But yeah, like in the Beast Moon Mayhem, Monster Mayhem, we really tried to make something challenging that required cooperation. Because, again, these things we introduce these things in a way to evaluate and judge community's reaction to them. Yeah, Wizard was always sort of a solo casual type game. So what's the what's the appetite for really challenging content that requires teamwork? And I'd say the reaction's been pretty good so far. So it's something that we're kind of investigating more to see where else can we take that sort of concept of, like was mentioned in chat, like the difficult content that requires cooperation through with a bunch of people. And so, we're just exploring different ideas, and again, just what fits our game the best. We can always look at other games for some inspiration and stuff, but Wizard's sort of a unique beast in the MMO community, and so it doesn't always fit directly. So we have to just make sure that what we do is right for our game.
And I would say it's certainly evolved over the years. Wizard 101 is a completely, well, not a completely different game, but it's evolved a lot from 2008 to 2021. And so has the games industry and the games that are popular now. So we're trying to kind of keep current with the times and make sure that we're offering great things for everybody to do, but keep it uniquely to our game, and make it wizardly awesome.
I saw somebody suggested in chat something along the lines of an arcade or even kind of like a restaurant type setting, just for people to kind of have a little more interaction outside of just that Wizard 101 questing experience. Is there anything else anybody wants to add real quick? We are going to wrap up within the next few minutes.
All right. Well, this has been a lot of fun. Thank you very much.
Thank y'all for coming. I really do appreciate it. It was a huge honor to host all of y'all guys.
Yeah, a lot of fun as always, talking about the stuff we're working on and focused on. And like, again, it's not like a broken record or whatever, but, go to the forums, go to Twitter, come to the roundtables, come to KI Live, let us know what you think. I review this and all of our development efforts to be a partnership with the community. We want to take the game in the direction that is best for our community. And so you come here, your opinions aren't falling on deaf ears. I got notes. I remember everything, as I said before. Everything. So anyway, keep it coming.
Yeah.
It's all good.
We'll certainly help to take the links and send them to you, Artie, for community feedback. I just want to say real quick as well, thank you, community. Everybody's watching. Thank you, White Tiger. Really appreciate it. We'll have to do more roundtables.
Thank y'all guys so much. I really do appreciate it. It was a ton of fun being able to hang out with y'all guys. I know this was very kind of general, broad-based, and that's kind of what the community is. It covers so much of so many little and so many big things that I just kind of wanted to jump and try to touch around on different things that I know a lot of players have had on their minds. So hopefully y'all guys have enjoyed this roundtable. It's been a lot of fun. And just real quick, I kind of want to give the spotlight to Spark for a second. And he is he's Kingsisle's senior community manager. He has been around all over the place in the community. He's been in the KI Lives. He's been able to provide a lot for different contests and events that are going on. And I just wanted to give a huge shout out to Spark just for that. And I wanted to ask him, overall, what has your experience been at Kingsisle and interacting with the community?
Well, I have like 30 seconds to answer. There's so much awesomeness in the community that I just have to say it's been fantastic. And the community just keep helping each other out, keep, supporting each other's works and things like this that are community driven. We couldn't ask for more than that.
All right. I really do appreciate y'all guys for coming out. It's been a huge honor just to host all of y'all guys. The Kingsisle team works insanely hard on all the stuff y'all guys have been adding in. Y'all guys are still providing regular updates, covering all aspects of the community, and y'all guys have been keeping this game going for well over a decade now. I believe it's the 13th anniversary coming up.
September 2nd.
September 2nd. It's really cool to see just how much the game has grown and just evolved over the years. So I'm really excited to see what else is coming into the game, and it's been a huge blast. Thank you guys so much.
Thank you so much for having us.
Thanks, White Tiger. Appreciate it. It was a lot of fun.
Yeah, thanks. A lot of fun. Yeah, always good time talking with the community about stuff. Good times.
Have a great night.
All right, thank you guys. I appreciate it.
We're offline.
We're still on the stream just for a second. I just wanted to mention one more time, guys. It's been a lot of fun being able to talk to the Kingsisle team. Hopefully y'all guys did enjoy the stream as well. This will definitely not be their last roundtable for sure, so make sure to stay tuned to that. And it's been overall fun. I really do enjoy being able to interact with y'all guys and the KI team. So it's just a huge honor being able to just to be a part of this. I really do appreciate it. So real quick, if you guys have not seen, I do have a series coming out. It is going to be kind of like a Wizard 101 podcast. I think it's going to be really interesting. The first episode was going to launch last month, but when this roundtable came up, I really wanted to wait until after so I could have this stream kind of be kind of the starter point to that podcast. The first episode of the podcast called A Wizard's Journey. That's the title of the podcast. The first episode is going to be based on a strong community, and it's definitely going to reference the stream a little bit more. So hopefully you guys are interested in that. There will be a giveaway on Twitter after the stream, so check out my Twitter link down in the description down below to check that out. And overall, hopefully you guys have just had a great time. It's been a lot of fun, and I can't wait to see more roundtables from the Kingsisle team. And if you guys have anything y'all want to see, any specific roundtable or anything like that, feel free to mention that. And you never know. We'll see. We'll just kind of see what comes up in the future. So thank you guys so much. Thank you guys. I've seen a lot of familiar faces and a lot of new faces coming into the stream. I have no idea how many people are watching because there is no accurate count anymore. But it is showing well over, I believe 100 people was our max, or at least when I was looking. I've been kind of jumping around tabs between the game, being able to chat, stuff like that. You'd like to see another stream like this? Absolutely, I love doing streams like this. For National Video Game Day last year, we actually had a discussion. It wasn't with the Kingsisle devs, but it was a discussion on the channel for feedback on the spell revamp and how spells were being changed. And that was a good 4.5 hour long stream. I was able to send that feedback, and that was really cool being able to interact more with y'all guys on that. So I really love discussion streams, which is kind of where this podcast is going to be going this Wizard's Journey podcast that I mentioned, that's kind of where it's going to pick up on this discussion style idea. So that's definitely something I'm going to be working on a lot more in the future. I saw someone mention saying I really didn't talk much. I just really wanted the Kingsisle to have the mic on this one. I really love hearing their thoughts on anything and everything they have to say. So it's really cool seeing that perspective. Hopefully you guys did enjoy that. But like I said, stay tuned. We do have a giveaway coming up on Twitter shortly after the stream ends for a bundle, so stay tuned for that. But overall, that's all I pretty much got for you guys today. Once again, a huge honor for me to host the Kingsisle team. It's really nice being able to talk with them and talk with y'all guys. Overall, I really do appreciate it. Hopefully you guys have a great day, and hopefully it was just an overall enjoyable stream. Thank you guys for watching.